Hey y'all, welcome to Horrible Gaming. My name is Nora, and on today's video we are working more on my Forest of Valor. So far, I have been pretty productive in this biome. Many of my speed builds you have seen on my channel are in this biome, and we're nearly to the finishing point. Today, I really want to try to focus on giving Merlin a nice little yard and also finishing up this transitional spot. Also, as we get started today, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that like, subscribe, and notify button if you want to see more content like this in the future. It really does help me out. I've been going for a very specific color palette in my forest. I'm doing purples, blues, and whites as my main color palette, but of course, if you have a certain color scheme that you're wanting to do in your forest, definitely make those changes as needed. I'm going for a very simple but natural vibe throughout my entire biome, so we're going to make use of this natural stump that spawns in this biome. For the greenery around the stump, I may be using the Forest of Valor bushes and the butterfly flower. I'm also going to do a curved pathway below it, and this is going to help us transition over to Merlin's house and also the bridge. Now, I've been getting questions on how I plan my pathing, and honestly, there's just no planning at all whatsoever. I kind of just go with the flow and adjust things as needed when I decorate. But what does help me kind of figure out how I want things to look is by taking real life inspiration into my builds. For example, since we're working in a forest biome, real life photos of a forest kind of help me figure out how I want things to look. Some areas are going to be more overgrown than others. Not every single pathway is going to be the same dimensions, because when you walk through a forest, nothing is structured at all. So for me personally, when I'm doing more natural landscapes, just having real life inspiration has helped. I feel like it also encourages me to focus on the details more too in each build that I create. Anyways, now that I have all of my pathing mapped out, we're gonna go ahead and start adding some cottagecore details in the surrounding areas. I've actually flattened my forest like several times, so if you're interested in seeing a different version of Merlin's home, I will have it linked in the video's description, or you can find it in my Disney Dreamlight Valley playlist. But I really wanted him to still be in this biome as his color palette and house style really suits the theme over here. I also may eventually move over Fairy Godmother over here too. She's currently in my Forgotten Lands, but I kind of want them both close to each other. I also really love how her house looks in this biome too, so I think I'll go ahead and move her back over here eventually. I'm just trying super hard to not flatten any of my biomes because I have almost 3 biomes completely finished, and that is the first time this has ever happened. So my goal is to try to make sure that everything stays put so I can do an entire valley tour in the future. So for Merlin's home, we're going to be doing a stone cluster walkway. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do in Disney Dreamlight Valley, especially if I'm doing a cottagecore like build. I also want to make sure this build is completely functional because there's a mining node I need to be able to use behind his house. So I'm going to extend this pathway leading up to it, and then we're going to blend out the empty locations with some more beach grass and butterfly flowers. I'm going to keep the decor around his home very minimalistic and simple, especially since I'm going for a cottagecore kind of theme throughout this entire part of my valley. I gave him almost like a wizard magical sort of theme for his last home build that we did on my channel. So I also want this one to be a little bit more different, but also friendly for any new players who might not have access to a lot of items. I'm really trying to think about these type of things throughout builds lately because I know not everyone has been playing Disney Dreamlight Valley for as long as I have, so hopefully this will bring you some inspiration if you're somebody in that type of position. I really wanted Merlin's home in general to be an example that you don't need a ton of items to have a nice looking build in Disney Dreamlight Valley, so hopefully his home is also an example of what you can do without a bunch of item clutter as well. Anyways, now that I have his pathway mapped out, I'm going to go ahead and fill in some of the empty areas with more greenery. I'm also going to try to keep a lot of the decor close to the river simple too, just because I want to make sure I can fish over here. Again, I'm trying to make sure this build is as functional as possible, and on the right side of the bridge, we're going to be doing a similar thing that we're doing right now. I originally on the right side wanted to do a sitting area, but I also didn't want that decor competing with my Fairy Bloss home build. So I honestly feel like going simple is the best option for these transitional areas. Plus, I don't want a bunch of trees and greenery blocking the view to my cottagecore neighborhood build. Anyways, a little off topic from what we're doing right now, but I was originally planning to do the Beauty and the Beast castle in the Forest of Valor because many of you have been requesting for a build on that. However, sadly, I do not have space for it in this biome anymore. A lot of the empty spots are just like little filler areas that we need to do. I think I might be able to squeeze in one more cottage and fairy godmother's home for sure, but after that, there's literally no space for that castle. So I will instead be designing my Beauty and the Beast idea on Eternity Isle, and maybe in the future we can move it back to the main valley when I do a complete new theme for my forest. But I did want to let y'all know because we mentioned we were doing this on several videos and live streams, but there's just not enough space for the type of build that I want to do, and I refuse to put half the effort into this build because there's not a lot of space to work with. So it'll be worth it, trust me, but in a future, revamp of my forest, I'll definitely be moving it back over here. With all this being said, I need some ideas on how to fill up some of these small spaces, so if you have any cute suggestions, let me know in the comment section below. I will also most likely be finishing the Forest of Valor on a live stream in the next few days, so if you've been following the entire build process through all of my speed builds, just know that this is the last speed build on my forest for the natural cottagecore theme. Then we will flatten this and do a complete blank slate in the future, and just like always, I will do a final walkthrough and tour video when this biome is completely finished. Anyways, here's how our transitional spot looks and also Merlin's home. I hope that today's speed build brought you some Disney Dreamlight Valley inspiration. Before today's video ends, I also want to give a huge shout out to all of my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me as a creator. Just your support in general means the world to me. With that being said, thank you so much for watching and have a horrible day.